for the shine. App for the groove. App for a new day. This is what it feels like.
Watch New Day every weekday at 6 a.m. New Day is brought to you by Vodafone. The future is exciting. Ready?
Hello, good evening, and welcome to News at 10 on TV3. My name is Martin Esiedudate.
At this time, I saw them point directly into the crowd, in the direction of the crowd, and fire. I saw Double also point his AK-47 and attempt to fire. The gun jumped.
We have more of that on the big one coming up shortly. You can also catch this news live on DSTV channel 279 and our live Facebook stream. Also, if you go to our website 3news.com, you would have all other news bulletins, especially this one as well. We're also live on 3FM 92.7, and you can send your comments in on the various stories we will be treating this evening, and we will be happy to read them. Here are the major news highlights making rounds during the day. And if you've been following what's happening, first of all, you know that the commission that has been set up to investigate the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-elections has been sitting. Sam Jatikay George has been there, and we'll be probing deeper into some of the observations he made while he was there. But these are some of the other stories that we're monitoring for you. And the Economic and Organized Crime Office, IOCO, will soon begin investigations into financial embezzlement and criminal abuse of petroleum revenue from 2011 till date. This was contained in a Memorandum of Understanding between the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, and IOCO. Also in the news, Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Pram, Sam George, says gunshots were fired at crowds during the confusion that ensued at the Ayawaso West by-election. The Member of Parliament who appeared before the Commission probing the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election violence presented empty cartridges he indicated were collected from the residence of the NDC parliamentary candidate during the by-election. Elsewhere in Ghana, the Trades Union Congress asks government to ensure that prices of goods and services are reduced to reflect its position on the transformation of the economy. According to the Secretary General of the TUC, Dr. Yao Ba, prices remain high despite the consistent reduction in inflation and other indicators. Elsewhere on the continent of Africa, specifically Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari has taken an early lead as vote counting continues in Nigeria's general elections, winning 4 of the country's 36 states. Mr. Buhari took 2 states in the southwest, 1 in the east and 1 in Nigeria's center, while his rival Atiku Abubakar took the capital, which is Abuja. So those are the major stories making headlines. Time now, though, for the big one. Now, the Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, Sam George, has told the commission probing the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election violence that gunshots were fired at crowds during the confusion that ensued at the by-election. Let's take a listen to exactly what his words were, and then we'll come in studio to dissect that particular matter.
A scuffle involving quite a number of the masked men and the crowd broke out this time, where blows were being thrown in the open. The next thing I heard, whilst trying to find my bearing, were warning shots, or were shots fired in the air. I saw these armed men pull out, a number of them, pull out their side weapons, point in the crowd. The crowd had started dispersing as soon as the first shots were fired. But this time, I saw them point directly into the crowd, in the direction of the crowd, and fire. I saw Double also point his AK-47 and attempt to fire. The gun jammed. I saw him clear his chamber, reload the gun, and fire several rounds from his AK-47. My Lord, recounting this leaves me a little traumatized, because this was live fire straight at unarmed Ghanaian citizens. I'm a member of parliament. I kept screaming for it to stop. After about 60 seconds, and what appeared to me to be well over 40 shots fired, the firing ceased, and Double gave the order for the men to retreat, and the retreat began. But he was the last man behind.
All right, so that is Sam George. Now, he also presented some cartridges to the commission and said that those cartridges were collected from the residence of the NDC parliamentary candidate during the scuffle that broke out. And he asked them to collect it so he would present it as evidence of what ensued on the day. Let's listen to him.
One of the men, Honorable, they were shooting us. They shot us with guns, live bullets, and he brought me a shell casing. He showed me a shell casing. I had been there and witnessed the shooting. So when he brought the shell casing to me, I asked the gentlemen around to go around and pick as many shell casings as they could. And my Lord, whilst I waited, they brought me those shell casings, which I have with me in the same rubber bag that in which it was brought to me. My Lord, there are two different types of shell casings that were brought. And this is what the gentleman picked and brought to me before I left. In fact, this in itself is a round. My Lord, here, this appear to be, from the markings on them, 9mm shell casings. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 of those shell casings. This appeared to be shell casings from an AK-47. My Lord, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spent shell casings and live round from an AK-47. So this in itself is 18 plus 10, 28 plus 1 use case, and 29 that were picked on the spot on the day and brought to me.
In studio with me to probe deeper into this presentation made by Sam George is Adib Saani. He is a foreign policy and security analyst, and we want to talk about this particular story into some more detail. Good evening, Adib, and thank you very much for joining us. First of all, Let's broaden the discussion. Then we can narrow it down to today's commission probe. When security personnel are about to be deployed, are they given specific arms and ammunitions? And when they come back from the mission, are they supposed to account for whether they fired it or they did not, and then give an account of the ones they've brought back? Is that international accepted practice?
Well, it depends on the operation in which they are going. I mean, if they receive intelligence about a group of persons believed to be armed robbers camped in an uncompleted building, you are highly likely to be right that if you say that they are likely to engage you in a gun battle. So there's the need for you to prepare yourselves. I mean, go there with high caliber weapons so you can confront them boot to boot. In recent years, you've even had armed robbers who have been so emboldened to the extent that they want to match the police boot to boot because they feel they hold, bigger guns than that of the police. Not very long ago, we had something similar of that nature happening in Kasua, where after robbing a building, they waited for the police to come, so they matched them with because of the kind of weapons they hold. So it depends generally on the operation, and it is also accepted internationally. I mean, almost all law enforcement agencies in the world, after an operation, you're supposed to come back to the precinct and report to your superiors. I mean, you can put something together, more like a report of some sort, detailing all that happened during the operation, even the number of shots that were fired, the number of what do we call it, people who were hit, etc. Okay. So we have they have a holistic picture about what happened.
And if we look at what happened at the by-election in Ayawaso West Wuogon, would you describe that as a scenario that they had to come back and give an account of how many bullets were fired, etc.? So they get to know at least that person A or officer A was given 10 rounds and he fired 3 or 4.
Well, the group of officers who went to La Baolesia, I must indicate without mincing words, looked more like a ragtag militia. I mean, they were not well put together. The operation was not well planned. The intelligence, if it is anything to go by, I think was not well gathered, because according to them, they received information there was a cache of ammunition in the NDC parliamentary candidate's residence, but nothing of that nature was found. But under normal circumstance, what you do is, after gathering the intelligence, you process it and make it available to the appropriate agencies. In this case, most likely would be the police SWAT. Right. But if you want to collaborate, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But after that, you're supposed to report back to your superiors about all that happened. And if you didn't do what you expected to do, or you flouted the rules of engagement or protocol, the necessary disciplinary action would be taken against the officers.
To bring into context what Sam George said, he asked the people to pick the empty shells that have been fired, and he brought them before the Commission of Inquiry. First of all, we want to look at the context of contamination of evidence. Can we say that that is truly the rounds that were fired from the weapon? And also, are not these things, have they not been contaminated by the fact that people in the community picked them? Could it also be that they must have added some or taken some out? How does all of this play out in the security sense?
Well, it will be hard to say that these spent casings are from this gun or that gun. Just before I came on air, I spoke with an ammunition expert. I asked if you can have a single caliber bullets that can be fired by more than one gun. He said, yes, it does happen. Even in some cases, you have machine gun, bullets that are fired by G3, which is not a machine gun, it's an assault rifle. And in many cases, you would have to subject the casings to what we call ballistic tests to ascertain which gun they came from. Because every bullet that is fired, because of the gas propelling the bullet out. It leaves some microscopic dents on the bullet that can only be seen clearly under a microscope. So for you to pick shell casings and suggest that indeed they came from the AK-47 assault rifle is something that cannot hold water. I think it has to rather be subjected to some tests. Ballistics is a different ball game altogether. Even in some cases, paramedics are taught to identify what kind of a bullet was fired that hit a person by looking at the entry wound. But in many cases, they get it wrong because you have .45 caliber, sometimes looking like .32. And just by looking at the outer or the entry point, you cannot always tell, because in some cases, you have high velocity bullets, not really, in many cases, not leaving conspicuous marks in the entry, but rather do a lot of damage that would tear tissue from within the body. So it leaves a lot more questions than answered if we look at just the context of the ammunition, the empty shells that some judge presented. Is that the case? No, I think that he could have also handled it better. You cannot assume that it came from the national security operatives. I'm not in any way seeking to undermine his opinions about this, because we've had before him others come to say that there was firing from within the building as well. So this could have come from anyone within the vicinity. It could also likely have come from elsewhere. It could be harvested from elsewhere and planted there. So I think all of that would have to be investigated thoroughly. In fact, when the whole thing happened that same day I went there, I personally ascertained for myself what really transpired. Well, fortunately, unfortunately, I didn't see the bullet casings there, but I saw some bullet holes,
marks on
yes,
walls and cars and
walls, and a container just opposite the parliamentary candidates' building. So what would you say going forward the commission can do, or as a country, do we even have the technological know-how to dig deeper into these shell casings to tell whether or not they really were fired from weapons that were handed to these security officials? Well, according to the Ghana Police Service, we have a forensics lab that some of these tests can be conducted. Unfortunately, due to very poor data management in the country, we are not able to keep records. Under normal circumstance, before you go out on an operation, they should know that this gun with this serial number was assigned to Mr. A or Mr. B. And after the operation, these guns are stored back in the ammunition depot. The commission should have the power to be able to ask for it to be retrieved. Then we subject it to these ballistics tests. Then we can ascertain for a fact whether indeed the shell casings came from any of those guns. Okay. Definitely a lot more questions seem to be coming out as a result of that. But TV3 will keep an eye on it and give you updates as and when they become available. Mr. George is expected before the commission again tomorrow. We will be there and cover it live and give it to you as and when we get them. This is still News at 10 on TV3. Thank you very much, Mr. Saani Adib. He's a foreign policy and security analyst. This is News at 10. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
Talented kid for 2018, ladies and gents, it's Ayawaso.
And now, another search is underway. It's the 10th anniversary of Talented Kids. We are back to find those amazing young chaps who will take the entertainment industry by storm. There's a 10,000 Ghana cedis cash prize, a 15,000 Ghana cedis educational fund, plus an all-expense-paid trip abroad awaiting the winner. It's Talented Kids Season 10. Free to play.
Talented Kids Season 10 is brought to you by GTP,
Vita, naturally refreshing,
Indomie, Mavis Mosquito Coil, British Columbia College, Dask Capital, RT Home Planners and Construction, Casapreco 10/10.
Be the bully new, your fitness ambassador. Afi, Branham no white. So what person when your body fear your person. Now look sexy there. And me power chow. register. Into me invite you now, monko3news.com. Now monko register for Fat to Fit season 6. Now you exercise, Fat to Fit, losing weight the right way. Oh!
Everything you need to know. Captivating. Reliable. Credible and breaking news. All at your fingertips.
Who's found Asamoah Gyan? Super finish!
Being on top of the news has never been easy. Visit us at www.3news.com for all your reliable news. 3 News, news at your fingertips. There are lots of amazing stories out there. What we do on News 360 is to bring to you the most compelling news by teasing out the right pieces that bring the stories to life. My job is to present to you the news in the most gripping manner and asking the critical questions that bring out the needed detail out of the stories. My name is Alfredo Kanse. Join me on News 360, Monday through to Friday, 7 p.m. on air and online only on TV3.
Log on to www.3news.com for more news and updates of our major stories. Join us on Facebook 3newsgh for live streaming and comments on our page. Like and follow us on Twitter at 3newsgh and at 3sportsgh. Like our pictures on Instagram, TV3 Network. If you missed our live shows, watch a playback on YouTube, TV3GH. TV3, first in news, best in entertainment. To every story, there's a deeper meaning, a host of angles, which, when reported with the highest ethics of journalism, bring out the perspectives that matters most to you. That's what News 360 is all about. I seek to climb higher, dig deeper, and go further to bring you 360 degrees of the news and what happens thereafter. I'm Natalie Fort. Join me on News 360 every weekday at 7 p.m.
Thank you very much for staying with TV3. Now let's go to Nigeria now. And the All Progressive Congress, APC, is calling on the international community and the media to treat with contempt a statement by the PDP, that is the Progressive Democratic Congress party, I beg your pardon, that its candidate had won the presidential elections. The Strategic Communications Director of the APC campaign, Festus Kameo, spoke to our correspondent, Kamala Kluche.
The PDP is hoodwinking INEC to play to their gallery?
It's not only hoodwinking INEC. They are targeting the international community to get their sympathy and to also stir up some local rebellion. It's just a sign of complete desperation on the part of PDP. I'm sure you have seen the reports from all international observers, the African observers, the sub-regional observers, the international observers. All of them are in agreement that this election was free, fair, transparent, and credible. That is what all of them have said. They have also noted the very isolated incidents that happened in Lagos, in Anambra, and 1 or 2 places. But they have come to a conclusion that those incidents are too isolated to mar the entire exercise. For instance, in Lagos, that's my own opinion, you have 13,000 voting points. We had an incident of extreme condemnable violence in one of 13,000 polling points. I mean, that cannot mar an entire exercise. PDP is doing what they are known to have done over the years. Don't play by the rules, grab power at all costs, and they want to force their way at all costs into power. That is what we are resisting. We are alerting international community, we are alerting our friends, we are alerting Nigerians that they should not fall for the antics of the PDP.
And staying in Nigeria, you know that there are 36 states in all that you know, we are waiting for results from. Nigeria has 36 states, and so far 10 states have released results, or results from 10 states have come in. And here is a picture so far of the results that have been released from 10 out of the 36. So it means that we are waiting for about 26 more states. So provisional results that have been released so far by the INEC in Nigeria. And the first is the APC with 2,831,572 votes. Then that comes closely to that of the PDP, which is 2,076,490. The third in line is AAC with 7,659, and then YPP 3,630, with ACPN 2,221. So we are expecting at least 26 more states to release their results, and when they do come in, our reporter Komla Kluche is there. He's pitched camp in Nigeria and monitoring the elections there, and we definitely will bring it to you when they are released. Who will be the next president of Nigeria? Would it be the incumbent, or he will be toppled? Stay with us. This is your Election Command Center. Let's come back to Ghana now. The Trades Union Congress, TUC, has called for a review of the Meridian Port Services MPS agreement. According to the TUC, government would lose some $800 million in tax concessions and a potential layoff of some 1,400 workers of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority.
The Secretary General of TUC, Dr. Yaoban, expressed disappointment over the agreement signed in 2015 to be implemented in June this year. Under the agreement, Meridian Port Services MPS will be operating for 35 years without honoring tax obligations. According to the TUC boss, government has granted in excess of $800 million tax concessions to MPS, which he described as unfair.
Government of Ghana has also granted concessions to the tune of $800 million. Tax concessions alone. I don't understand why. The information we have gathered also indicates that they gave this contract to MPS without going through any bidding process at all. Can you imagine a $1.5 billion, now they say it's $1.1 billion contract, and then MPS got it on the silver platter without going through a bidding process?
In the agreement, MPS is to construct a third terminal at the port, which the TUC boss does not want government to allow MPS to operate.
MPS has gotten everything. Ghana has gotten nothing. We like bigger terminals. Yes, we like bigger terminals. But if indeed we have given tax concessions to the tune of $800 million, I was wondering why we didn't build it ourselves. Because what I hear is that the contract cost $1.1 billion. And if Ghana government can actually give tax concessions to the tune of $800 million, I hear it's $832 million. I mean, why wouldn't we go for loan and build our own terminal?
He asked President Akufo-Addo to intervene.
My understanding is that some work is being done by government, but we are raising this in our comments on the SONA because the president raised issue about the ports. And we think that the president must act very quickly. That is why we are serious about it in this, our comments to the president. We suggest to government that they shouldn't wait any longer. They should do things now.
The Trades Union Congress said it intends to meet the president over the agreement.
That's it for the bulletin. It came to you from our studio here at Adib Saani. My name is Martin Esiedudati. Thank you very much for watching. There is more news on our website, 3news.com. Do have a good evening, and as always, stay positive. Bye for now.
To every story, there's a deeper meaning, a host of angles, which, when reported with the highest ethics of journalism, bring out the perspectives that matters most to you. That's what News 360 is all about. I seek to climb higher, dig deeper, and go further to bring you 360 degrees of the news and what happens thereafter. I'm Natalie Fort. Join me on News 360 every weekday at 7 p.m.
Abusiafo, mpanimfoɔ se adeɛ kye ne antensɛm foforɔ a na kyɛ sɛ adeɛ mpɔnkye. Ne sɛnti na onua 95.1 FM. Yɛahyehyɛ dwumadie a yɛato ne din yɛ nsɛmpa. Efi adwoada, ɛkɔpem fiada. Yɛtena se anɔpa na onum abapa ho sima aduanan 5:40 AM. Ade na ho for afidie nto ho. Ne yɛn kambom, yɛn dwendwen nsɛm a ɛfa yɛn ho. Nsɛm a ɛfa me ne ho sɛ yɛ important ɛkɔ so wɔ Ghana afanya. Bidin di asɛmpa. Yɛbɛka nsɛm a ɛfa ho. Nsɛm a ɛbɛmo adi yie, nsɛm a ɛbɛmo atu mpɔn. Ghana fa na nyinaa yɛbɛkɔ hɔ. Deɛ mpanifoɔ yɛ wɔ kokoa ma ɛma mpontuo mba. Deɛ me ne wo so yɛ ɛma mpontuo mba ɛne yɛka ho asɛm. Na me asomdwe nka ho so watie yɛn. Hyia me wɔ onua 95.1 FM. Yɛdwe ho.
Onua 95.1 FM. Yɛdwe ho.
Hello everybody, my name is Dr. Amma Diafo, and this body you see right here is a product of Fat to Fit. I started my journey 2 years ago, 2016, and I have lost a whopping 25 kilograms with Fat to Fit. Now I'm telling you, if you are sitting at home and you are feeling sad, you're sulking because you put on weight, I'm telling you that this season is your season. Season 6 of Fat to Fit. Log on to 3news.com right now, sign up, and join us for season 6 of Fat to Fit for the new you. Thank you. Bye.
What's up? I can't do my baby same 3 extra, Charlie. Alright, so welcome to another great edition of Tackle. My name is Thea Winya. Now, we're starting off with the
news you missed yesterday and the latest news of today, presented live in 60 minutes. Midday Live, every day at 12.
Halo, Tan. Ça va? Abe chawadi? Ani fama. Ana wala liya kuchala ke tara Bamako. Meo. Yara itna na dugu ta wara ka blame hon. Ibna sigi sake. Imu yiki sige satin satan, ha? Sababi ana rakama ikana dugu ta wara ka blame ko isigi en fono, ha? Ini baraji. Ande man dugu wara tan. Am ko do kan kan nyi na nyana bora inshallah an shitna na sangai.
Ça, c'est l'arrestant. Tu as vu? Aruna, regarde maintenant. Regarde. Les gants, c'est où? Et les bouteilles, c'est partout, regarde. Et de l'eau, c'est partout.
Non, au moment où moi je venais ici, ça trouvait que c'est ma mère qui m'a parlé de Mauritanie.
C'est ta mère?
Oui, elle venait ici quoi. Elle me disait de laisser le Mali là parce qu'il y a trop de parler, problèmes familiaux, tout. Donc elle m'avait dit de venir la rejoindre ici, que je peux trouver un bon travail, de gagner beaucoup d'argent, qu'elle voulait rester là-bas. Ça trouvait qu'elle dormait dans les ports là. Elle-même, elle n'avait même pas de maison ici. Moi j'ai dit que...
Parce que tu es une femme bien aimée quoi.
Ouais, elle m'aime beaucoup. Parce qu'elle est venue, elle m'a dit qu'elle a 1000 fois tenté, mais elle ne m'avait pas parlé qu'elle a 1000 fois tenté, elle n'a pas réussi. Il y a un monsieur là qui travaille au port là. C'est lui-même qui m'a dit que c'est à cause de lui qu'elle n'a pas parti. Parce que lui, il savait que si elle rentre dans la pirogue, qu'elle va mourir. Ma maman est retournée au Mali. Maman, elle dit que son seul espoir, c'est moi.
Dans la vie.
Dans la vie.
Ce n'est pas facile.
Ah, mais quand même, l'autre jour, lorsqu'on était là-bas, à la plage, là-bas, j'ai été découragé.
En tout cas, moi, que je suis certain, Inch'Allah, je vais aller. Quel qu'en soit alphabet conséquence. Pour moi, tant que je vis, je me fais face à ce que je crois. J'aimerais rencontrer mon destin face à face. Donc, c'est à cause de ça que j'ai abandonné toute ma famille. Je suis seul de l'étranger. Je suis vraiment seul. J'ai vraiment marre dans cette conce. La conce que j'avais vraiment, ça m'a déçu mon cœur. Vraiment, mon cœur est vraiment déçu. Les aides que tu peux les faire dans ta famille, il faut les faire. Tu auras quelque chose aussi à rentrer chez vous.